Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. Hurricane Dorian has caused devastating damage to the Bahamas as numerous casualties have been reported in Abaco. According to Bahamian Prime Minister Herbert Minnis, the storm remains extremely dangerous. International Red Cross has reported that some 13,000 houses are feared damaged or destroyed as pictures showed surging floodwaters and snapped trees. Dorian is the most powerful storm to hit the Bahamas since records began. The U.S. National Hurricane Center says Dorian hit the Bahamas as a Category 5 hurricane but has now weakened to a Category 4. Dorian will, however, remain a powerful hurricane during the next couple of days. A slight deviation in the path of the storm could bring Dorian directly over Florida's east coast, which is already expected to face life-threatening storm surges. Meanwhile, millions of people along southeastern U.S. are preparing for the unknown as Hurricane Dorian makes its way. Details from the CNN.
This is a storm of storms.
Dire warnings from officials along the southeastern U.S. as Hurricane Dorian approaches.
People need to remain vigilant and get out now while you have time, while there's fuel available.
The powerful hurricane is tearing through the northern Bahamas, leaving behind a trail of destruction and already claiming at least one life. Making matters worse, the storm is stalling. Attention. While the storm's track is still uncertain, officials from Florida to the Carolinas are sharing a unified message.
This is a serious storm, y'all, and let's get ready for it.
This is a very serious hurricane.
Forecasts predict tropical storm force winds could begin to move into the Florida peninsula on Monday morning, likely occurring first in the West Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie area.
Even the slightest deviation from Dorian's projected path could be a catastrophic event for our community.
Mandatory evacuations have been ordered in some low-lying coastal areas, while several counties are under hurricane warnings and watches.
I don't have anywhere else to go, so I'm going to stay around here. I have my house in Port St. Lucie, so I don't want to, lose it and stuff. I boarded it up.
Several Florida highways will suspend tolls to ease the evacuation efforts, while thousands of utility workers and the National Guard are moving into position.
Once it is safe to do so, we will be out in full force responding to outages.
In other news, motorists escaped the traffic nightmare they were expecting on Monday as work crews carried out major repairs on the weekend to prepare for the back-to-school season. TVJ's O'Shane Masters reports.
Over the weekend, the contractors working on the Constant Spring Road Improvement Project worked in the night to pave the southbound lanes from Waterworks to Oliver Road. This to facilitate the flow of traffic for the start of the new school year. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang and Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson toured the area early Monday morning. Major General Anderson says a team of police has been assigned to the area to ensure the back-to-school traffic runs smoothly.
As you know, with the first day, it's always more difficult because people are finding their way. The road system has changed slightly and they're not sure where to go and how the traffic flow will be at the time that they leave out. So they will be testing and adjusting, so we have a lot of people out to guide the process.
In terms of the plan, they have the Commissioner Rishon, they'll be looking into the entire school term. Of course, there's still some additional work to be done, and they are looking to ensure that the coordination with public works will be much more efficient and smooth, because that will be the challenge, and that things will be done to ensure that the flow and the traffic will continue.
The Commissioner, the Security Minister, and the new head of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB, ACP Kevin Blake, held an impromptu meeting to discuss the traffic situation in the capital. Police officers were stationed at strategic points in the Stony Hill area to ensure discipline on the roads. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
There's an urgent appeal for the National Works Agency to create a pedestrian bridge to provide easy access for students living in communities of Spanish Town Road in St. Andrew. Some of the students attend the DuPont Primary and Coburn Gardens Primary Schools on Hagley Park Road in St. Andrew. Acting Commander for the St. Andrew South Division, SSP Steve McGregor, says signs should be in place shortly.
Hopefully by tomorrow, all the different changes will have the signage so people will know where to go and how to move around. Yeah. So We're there. We're managing. As I said, relatively speaking, it is not bad. And people have adhered to the advisories to come out early. And the people who came out early traverse the roads a little bit easier. And as you see, we're managing what we have right now.
And the National Security Minister has sought to clear the air about new measures to be implemented by PSTEB, the Public Police Safety Traffic Enforcement Branch. Dr. Horace Chang indicated that the former head of the unit, Bishop Dr. Gary Welsh, acted unilaterally. Last week, Dr. Welsh said effective September 1, persons who breach the road code would be taken to customer service centers set up by the police. Dr. Chang insisted that was not true.
No such system was ordered. We are looking at improvement in the ticket management system so that we can get the electronic warrant, and of course, eventually we expect to have electronic ticketing. There's no reason in today's world that a policeman have to write in the book ticketing, and it will make life much easier for all the passengers. God reduce the level of points where you can get impairments and obstruction.
In the meantime, the police are on high alert as some taxi operators made good on their promise to park their vehicles today. Taxi operators in St. James, St. Anne, St. Thomas, St. Mary, Portland and St. Catherine took strike action earlier this morning. Taxi operators have been begging for a fare increase and have chastised the government for not addressing their plight. Head of PSTEB, ACP Kevin Blake, says things will not be allowed to get out of hand.
All right, just like any impending social disorder that we may have, we have a plan in place to look at that, and we'll be hitting the ground very early tomorrow morning. And so just to ensure that we maintain dominance in the space prior to that happening.
And it's time for a break, but we have more stories right after these messages. Welcome back, and we're continuing the news. There's an urgent appeal this afternoon for the National Water Commission to deal with turbidity issues at the Bulstrode water supply system in Westmoreland. Residents say they have not received piped water for weeks. TVJ's Ashane Masters has their story.
It's the same old problem, no water. Residents in Westmoreland are lamenting that for weeks they have sought the help of the National Water Commission, NWC, to address the issue, but to no avail. Member of Parliament for Western Westmoreland, Dr. Wickham McNeil, says he has had meetings with several NWC staff members, including its president, Mark Barnett. Dr. McNeil told TVJ News that he was informed that the issue was due to turbidity at the Bulstrode water supply. Turbidity refers to the cloudiness or haziness of a fluid caused by large numbers of individual particles that are generally invisible to the naked eye, similar to smoke in air. The Member of Parliament says based on dialogue with the NWC, a number of measures have been put forward to combat the water shortage.
That they're going to try and assign an officer to work with me to ensure that we can get the schools in first case, that we can get these schools to get water for back to school. But the bigger problem is this, that there simply is not enough water supply for the increase in population that we have in the constituency.
He says the water crisis will get even worse as plans are afoot to construct more houses in Westmoreland. He is also chastising the government for the lax manner in which it's going about the expansion of the Roaring River water system.
An agreement was supposed to be made with funding for it last year, August. A year later, we have heard nothing about it. And this is unacceptable. We were hoping we'd be way further ahead because anything to resolve this is a long-term issue. It's going to take some time to resolve it. So you need to actually get the funding and get the plans in place now. We are in crisis down here in Westmoreland. In crisis. The water supply to the people of Little London, in particular to Grange Hill, is unacceptable.
Meanwhile, one resident is questioning the high bills which they receive on a monthly basis, though they are not receiving water.
Those persons below me have it more difficult. For the past 8 weeks, And of course, I am looking for another NWC bill to be generated. Right now for me, it's $16,000, and I have not gotten any water for 2 months.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Tributes continue to pour in for former Cabinet Minister Dr. Ken Baugh. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton remembered Dr. Baugh as a consummate professional who went beyond the call of duty.
Someone who had a calming personality. He would calm any situation. He gave of himself a lot, and he expected back in return very little.
But Dr. Baugh was like a family man, right? A good doctor who helped a lot of his constituency, people them, and so forth.
Dr. Baugh passed away shortly after 10 Sunday morning following a lengthy period of illness. He had undergone surgery in 2015 to remove a brain tumor. Dr. Baugh retired from public life in 2016. At sports time, the West Indies reached 145 for 4 against India on day 4 of the second test at Sabina Park. The Caribbean side are chasing a target of 468 to level the series. Darren Bravo has been replaced by Jamaican Jermaine Blackwood after receiving a concussion. Scores in the match: India 416 and 168 for 4 declared, and the West Indies 117 and 145 for 4. India leads the 2-match series 1-0. Earlier in the tour, the visitors won the T20 series 3-0 and the ODI series 2-0. Last season's beaten finalist Santos will take on Brownstown in semi-final 2 of the CASAFA Under-15 football competition. It will be held at the Captain Horace Burrell Center of Excellence at the University of the West Indies this afternoon. Santos are in the last 4 after a 2-1 win over Maxfield Park, while Brownstown got the better of Dehaney Park 3-1. The winner will face the defending champions Cavalier in the final. Kickoff is at 4 o'clock. In the curtain raiser, Red Hills United will play Santos in the under-13s. That match will kick off at 2:30. The winner will face Harborview in the final, and the live coverage of both games can be seen on TVJ Sports Network. And that's the Midday News. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.